clouds rolling. I can feel the winds, they try to shake me. I will not be moved. My feet are on the rock. I can feel the waters rise. I can hear the howling lies that haunt me. Fear won't hold me now. My feet are on the rock.
When I feel my hope about to break, I will cling to your unchanging grace. Let the waters come and the earth give way. I'll be dancing in the rain. My feet are on the rock.
I can see the morning light. I can feel the joy on the horizon. Here my faith is found. I stand on solid ground.
When I feel my hope about to break, I will cling to your unchanging grace. Let the waters come and the earth give way. I'll be dancing in the rain. My feet are on the rock. On Christ the solid rock I stand. All of the ground is sinking sand. So stomp your feet and clap your hands. Our feet are on the rock. On Christ the solid rock I stand. All of the ground is sinking sand. So stomp your feet and clap your hands. Our feet are on the rock. On Christ the solid rock I stand. All of the ground is sinking sand. So stomp your feet and clap your hands. Our feet are on the rock. When I feel my hope about to break, I will cling to your unchanging grace. Let the waters come and the earth give way. I'll be dancing in the rain. When
is downloaded. Okay, next. No internet. No internet.
All right, that is real life
Yes.
right now, especially for all those who have kids at home.
I experienced that.
But hey, welcome, Trinity family and friends, all of you who have tuned in with us online this evening. We sure are glad that you're here for another episode of
Grubs and E. That's
Grubs
right.
and E, the Wednesday night show. We've got another big show ahead of us.
And I know people
this
are
evening.
thinking, like, did y'all wait this long to social distance greater? But
You know,
big
sometimes
announcement tonight.
sometimes we have challenges,
Yes.
and we have to work through those things,
Yes.
get the equipment, and you'll hear more about that as we go on.
but we have a big announcement down the road, because we've been asked a lot, hey, when are we going back to church? When will we get to do live worship? And we're going to talk about
Absolutely.
that tonight, a big part of that. And so we felt like we ought to have like this press conference feel, and we have a special guest too.
We do,
yeah,
and we're excited. I guess we can go ahead and talk about our special guest, but we're looking forward to having our children's
Yes.
minister, Amy Long. She's going to join us in our discussion of our reopening plan, as well as be a part of the bringing some kids' perspective to Gospel Project
Yeah,
Rewind.
and basically, she's going to up the IQ of the show.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Very much so. If you're a guest and you're joining us tonight, we sure are glad that you're here. And we want to ask you to take just a moment and go to tbctrinity.org/connect. And if you'll fill out the information there, we sure would love to hear from you, introduce ourselves to you. And then, as we always do, we invite all of you that are joining us online this evening to interact with us in the comment section, which are always such a blast to follow and to try to stay on topic as we follow those online. But we are watching that, and it's great for additional entertainment there.
It really is. And sometimes you're trying to get guests. We've had conversations. We have brainstorm sessions about future guests, and I don't know if we can top last week, because one of the comments by one of our members, longtime members, were that they were watching, and as Brother Steve was sitting here, the wife said, hey, that's not Brother Steve, that's a dummy, to which the husband responded, you're right,
So very
it is
true.
a dummy, but it is Brother Steve. And so, Brother Steve, I didn't say that. One of your parishioners that was under your administration
That's exactly right.
said
That's
that.
exactly right.
But we do have a new segment.
We do. We sent our team of reporters out on location.
Yes, TBC.
WTBC and our team. Just wait till we start doing the weather. It is going to be awesome.
And
Full-fledged
our cooking
broadcast.
segment. Would you like to see Iron Chef's Trinity?
We'll leave
asking.
that up for your comments there in the in
maybe
the comment
segments.
section.
Maybe that would be what we need to
Maybe
do.
you-
could
maybe
put
you
some
have-
segments.
yeah.
You would like to see us to do that. Ninja TBC Warrior.
We are all ears to your comments out there on maybe just a little fun entertainment.
Yes.
And who knows if we can
For the
pull
whole
that off
family.
or not. But let's see what's. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what our team of roving reporters.
Well,
got
what
out
we
did.
thought we would do is actually do some on location. TBC presents, on location, and go around and see different things that maybe some of our members do, maybe where they work, or some things that are going on in our area. And by the way, comment if you would like, if you've got something that you would like to see on location, and we'll send our crack reporting team. Matter of fact, our crack reporter, we went and got them fresh. We stole them from another production company.
Right.
And they actually just came to work for us here. And so watch this as you see TBC presents On Location.
Hey Trinity family, we're over here at Owens Produce. and we're kind of just asking them some questions to see what they're doing. So where are you guys located?
Oh, we're located at 1475 Old Trinity Road, across from the Caboose Park.
Awesome, awesome. And so, also, who's running this place?
Oh, we got me, Sam, and Hannah, which she's not here, but she will be later. So
That's awesome. So you guys are doing this on your own?
yeah, it was kind of an idea brought to us. So we weren't doing anything over the summer, so we might as well do something. So
Something to make a little money?
Something to keep us busy. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so, what are you guys actually selling?
Oh, we got a variety of like fruits and vegetables and ferns, barbecue sauce, stuff like that.
Hey Sam, what's your favorite job to do?
It's to be the cashier.
Oh, you like to count the money, don't you?
Yep.
Do you slip some in your pocket?
Maybe.
He says maybe. Oh my goodness. Come on out to Owens Produce for all your produce needs. As you can see, Sam's helping count the money and Charlie's helping with the bags. And it's a great place. Don't forget to come check them out on Old Trinity Road.
That's good stuff. You know, that reminds me, there used to be a program, the Old Country Rover. Do you remember?
Yeah. Jamie Cooper.
Jamie Cooper.
That's right.
Yes,
I
it just kind of
remember
had that feel. But hey, listen, if you would like to buy an advertising spot
Yes.
here on the Wednesday night show, we'll be glad to work out that arrangement.
that.
But that's very cool. That's
Yes.
very cool seeing some of our
Yes. And
some of our church
students
family,
and our
students
children.
at work.
Yeah.
Hey, it's almost the summer. Let's get out there and let's get to work.
That's right. And so we're so glad that
Very good.
They did that. But put some comments in there.
Yeah,
and
we'd
we'll
like
go
to know.
on location.
Yeah, we'd like to know where else we can go and,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
visit with you. So, all right. Well, now it is time for
Hang on. You know what it is, don't you?
no what?
It's time.
It's time for fun with FaceTime.
Fun with FaceTime. And so this is the place where we reach out to some of our members and people and
Yep.
FaceTime them. And, sometimes in between the screen looks a little different, that
Right.
type of stuff. We're still working through some of the technical difficulties and those type of things. So we are going to try to make it happen
Let's
here.
see who we have on FaceTime tonight.
All right. Here we go. Our first caller. Hey, can you take your phone and turn it that way? Where the other, hey, there we go. That is JB. How you doing, man? Walking down the hallway. You doing okay?
I'm doing all right. How are y'all?
It looks like you have just finished eating or you were eating. Which one?
They're still eating.
Caught him during dinner time. Yeah.
So here's the question. Were you watching during dinner time or just waiting for the call?
Just waiting for the call.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And then as we're talking about maybe doing Iron Chef's Trinity at some point. So what are y'all featuring for dinner tonight?
We're featuring Mi Hacienda.
Mi
Hacienda. That's right. I've never cooked that dish before. Hey, how are you guys doing, JB?
We're doing pretty good. We're doing well.
That's good.
Man.
The kids have gotten used to staying home, but Journey misses her friends for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hey, what's one thing maybe that through this, maybe you've thought, leaned in, pressed into what maybe something you could share quickly of what God shows you or taught you or something He's doing in you or your family's life?
Really, we're just enjoying the time that we have together. For the first several weeks, I was taking a day off every week and staying with the kids, and it was just a blessing. I mean, just to get to spend that much extra time with them. And I guess getting to spend all this time, you realize, you know what, being around other people isn't that big of a deal. Like your family is what matters. And I mean, I've always felt that way, but we're really seeing it firsthand now. In that, we could be cooped up in our house forever, and we still have our family, and we have God to thank for that. So
yeah.
Well, that's good, man. Well, listen, I don't want to keep you from your dinner because there's nothing worse than a cold dinner. But we just want to call and tell you love you. We miss you guys, and we can't wait till we get back together, and hopefully that'll be before too long. And we'll talk to you soon, my brother.
Okay.
All right. We'll see you.
That's good.
Okay.
Sounded like JB had a little action.
Yes,
You know, maybe some of that family he was talking about, you know, giving a little scream back there in the background. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's always fun.
Sometimes that happens here. Hey!
Hello.
How are y'all doing?
We got the Garrison family.
Hey, can you turn your phone like this way, like the other way? There you go. There we go.
Hey, Annie.
Hey. How are you doing? Good to see you. Man, what are y'all doing? Have y'all already had dinner?
Yes.
What did you feature on dinner?
Big Bob Gibson's fixed it today.
Big
Bob. So it sounds like everybody is doing the restaurant thing right now.
Well, it's making me hungry.
Yes, and here's the thing about it is we do not get to eat till very late. Hey, how you doing? Yeah, that's right. Come on. Do you like that? That's okay. Have fun. It doesn't matter. We do that all throughout the day. What have you been doing today?
Tell me what you've been doing.
Eating salad.
Ate a salad. And
Eating a salad.
Eating a salad.
That's pretty healthy
there
eating
you go.
there.
Yeah, things that Pastor Jamin won't be doing tonight. Eating a salad. That's correct. Well, man, oh, come on. We've got somebody else getting into the photo over there. Man, this is really good.
Who else
All right, yeah. All right, man. That's good.
Who else we got over there?
That's Tucker.
There's Tucker.
Come on, Tuck.
How about
how
it,
you
Tuck?
doing, buddy?
Good.
Hey, Tucker, how are you and your sister been doing?
Not good.
Not good? Not good? Oh, there we go. And we have just started the ninth fight in the Garrison house tonight. That is good.
Taking me a lot.
Okay. I got you. Well, hey, listen, we just want to call and check in with you guys, tell you we miss you, we love you, and I hope that y'all stay safe. We look forward to everybody getting together, and I think sometimes we forget how much we love hanging out with everybody. Hey, we will see you later. You have entertained us today. All right? Okay?
Bye.
All right, we'll see you. Bye-bye. All right, y'all have a good evening.
Oh, it's too bad she was so shy in front of the camera.
Yeah, it was. Camera shyness definitely
How about
is
another?
not good. 18.
Who else we got?
All right, I think.
You just like looking at random numbers.
Yes, I
and
am.
calling them.
Look,
That's the fun part of this.
I know.
Let's
I know.
just-
I hope this is who we're supposed to call. If not, I don't know.
Oh, well, we'll find out when they pick up.
Hey, there we are. How are you doing, Officer Kitchens? Can
How
you
you
go
doing?
the other way? There we go.
There we
right
go.
there. How are you doing?
How you doing?
Man, I'm doing good. Who do you have there with you?
I got Shannon and Megan here.
All right, come on. Look, I don't know about you, but it's almost like that's the perfect place because
Really
it's
is.
got the kitchen's name
Does.
over them.
We should screenshot that
Yes.
and give it to them
Yeah.
for a Christmas card.
Yeah, that's right.
You're
And
welcome.
Maybe we could get you guys to come and help us with our set because your set looks a lot better
does.
than ours.
We could do that. It was almost like we knew y'all were calling.
Well, what have y'all been up to lately?
Oh, same old with me. They've been off, but I've been working.
Yeah, you have to do. Unfortunately, you don't get time away being a police officer in Decatur, do you?
No, I don't.
He's essential.
I know you got to keep the bad guys off the street, right? And I don't know how much you can share because of policy and stuff like that. But listen, have you been out at any stores and just seen crazy people during this time?
A few times.
A few
Once or
times.
twice.
Are any of them deacons at our church?
It's possible.
It's possible.
possible.
That's all you have to say.
Yeah, there we go.
We suspect it, now we know.
Yeah, Megan, how have you been doing?
I've been doing good.
Okay, what have you enjoyed most in this time away?
Probably being able to play with my friends outside more.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, good. Now, what do you look forward to the most when all of this is over? Going back to school?
Yeah, and seeing my friends again.
Are you serious? You look forward to going back to school?
Yes.
All right, so is she more like you or is she like you, Shannon?
Like my dad more.
Like your dad more.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen, man, we want to tell you we love you guys. Is anything maybe that has stood out, anything that you've learned, or anything that maybe God has taught you guys, or even something family that you've enjoyed that you want to share with other people? We want people to hear what's going on in the lives of our people.
Well, for me, it's that God has not left us. During my time off, I've been helping taking care of my dad. He's had some health issues going on, and God has definitely not left us. So.
That's good. That's good. Well, listen, we love you guys so very much. We can't wait till we all get together, and we just want to check in with you and keep safe. And as you know, anything that you need, give us a call. If it's after 10 o'clock at night, call Eric.
We'll do it.
All right. Hey, love you guys. We'll see y'all later.
See you.
All right.
Bye.
Oh, that's good stuff.
Yeah.
I always love, doing those calls, unsolicited, unprompted.
Yes.
Totally surprised.
That's correct.
When we, to some degree.
Yes.
So we've got a special announcement for our Trinity students from our new student pastor, Hector Mojica. So why don't you guys check this out?
Hey Trinity students, it's Hector here. Coming to tell you about our Zoom meeting on Thursday at 7 p.m. You guys aren't going to want to miss it. And if you didn't see, on Monday we posted on our Instagram page description about it. So if you're not following that, make sure you do. There's going to be a ton of updates posted on what we're doing. And also this Thursday at noon is when we're going to post a Zoom link for that Zoom. So you're not going to miss that as well. And so at 7 p.m., click on there. I want to see you there.
All right. Well, we're so glad to have Hector here and a part of our church family. And he's already hard at work, as you saw just a few segments ago, our team of roving reporters.
That's
and
right.
We look forward to seeing more of that. We are going to plan, we've had a little bit of feedback, tried to get the information out there. As we get into the future, we are going to have an official welcome party, fellowship, reception, gathering, whatever you want to call that.
Pounding.
That's the word I was looking for.
How many of y'all remember that back in, do you remember that?
You've never heard of a pounding?
I have heard of it.
Oh, okay, but you're not that old.
Yeah. So we will have Hector's official pounding in the near future. But for right now, let me encourage you, take a moment and just send him a note of welcome or encouragement. You can send that here to the church office, or you can shoot him an email, and his email is Hector, that's HECTOR, at tbctrinity.org. So,
and like you said, students, tomorrow night they'll have a Zoom meeting so you can get to know him. You can go on our social media, Instagram, and get that announcement tomorrow.
Exactly right. So speaking of our awesome church staff, we're excited to have our children's minister, Amy Long, live and in person. She's joining us tonight to join in on some of the discussion with reopening, as well as some of the discussion on the Gospel Project. And then we're going to give you a little sneak peek on this year's VBS, and we're excited to make some of those announcements. But first, Amy, why don't you just kind of tell everybody what you and your family have been up to these past few weeks? No, you had some surgery kind of early on in this crisis, and why don't you give everybody an update?
I did have a surgery early on, so this really was a little bit of a blessing that I could be at home. Michelle came home from college, and she was a little sad to begin with, but I think she has learned to accept a little bit living back at home with mom and dad. So that's been an adjustment.
That's kind of tough. Your first year off, and then wait, come back for a little. Yeah,
that's right.
But I'm sure you didn't mind that.
No, that's okay.
I've secretly enjoyed that quite a bit. So, and then Brody finished up school online, of course. His 10th grade year, and he got a job, which is a huge thing.
Way to go, Brody.
Come on.
He's working very hard, so we're pretty proud of him. Mm-hmm. Kevin worked from home for a while, but he's gone back to work now with some strict restrictions, wearing masks and things like that. So that's what we've been doing.
Just kind of living the life in this new age, this new world, new schedules and new workplaces and all that. And that kind of brings us to tonight's big topic, or at least one of tonight's big topics. We want to give you an update on where we are when it comes to regathering in person for worship here at Trinity Baptist Church. And really, before we get into the details, we're just going to go ahead and jump in. Our church leadership has decided that Sunday, May 31st, is the best date for our church to come back together again. And we want to share with you some of the why behind this decision, as well as some of the details, the how, the what it'll look like as we reopen, things that you might anticipate. And really, I think it's probably appropriate for us to kind of preface all of our conversation that's about to happen by saying that we've never been in this situation before. Believe it or not, we, seminary never had a class on dealing with pandemics or, what to do when you have to, close your church facilities for a couple of months. And so really there is a myriad of... Smart. I was trying to think of what word of new things that we are really having to look into and things that we're having to consider, and we're just constantly appealing to God for wisdom and for direction and for protection for our church. And church, we're really thankful for your grace and your flexibility and your understanding in all of this. But at the end of the day, we want to encourage you to stay informed and use your discretion. Do what is most wise and prudent for you and your family. Okay, so we just kind of want to start the conversation that way this evening.
And we want you to realize that if you check out any church website, every church will be different. There'll be churches that'll start before us. There'll be churches that start after us. But that's why we wanted to use tonight to walk through why we're doing what we're doing. But rest assured, there's been a lot of time, effort, and energy. And even as our leadership and our deacons met Monday night, I mean, we were all in agreement moving forward that this would be the date. We discussed several dates, several opportunities. And I just want to say, man, I love our leadership. I'm so thankful for our deacons, and I've had conversations with some people that leadership is all over the place, but it's so great that we have a church that has unity moving forward. And so I'm excited about answering those questions tonight.
So we're going to kind of walk through, again, the not only the when, but the why, the how. And again, obviously, if you are sick in any way, if you are at risk, susceptible to in a more vulnerable situation, we want to encourage you, stay at home. Continue to join us in on the live stream. We're going to continue that. We'll talk more about that here in just a minute. But hear us this evening as we start to make good decisions for you and for your family. So first of all, we praise God that we're able to make this announcement. We have eagerly been anticipating, being able to gather again, to come back here to our church facilities as a church family to gather and to worship. And so we're very thankful to the Lord. But why May 31st? Well, you'll see some information there on your screen. First of all, as we said from the beginning, we want to seek to follow our state's recommendations and guidelines for church gatherings. And Jamin even mentioned this just a minute ago. Over the past week or so, some of our state's restrictions on restaurants and salons, medical offices, and even churches have been relaxed. Now, obviously, that means that doesn't mean that things just go right back to the way that they were. There's certain protocols and guidelines that our state is asking us as individuals and as businesses and even as churches to continue to put in place for public safety. And so that's one of the first reasons there is that we seek to continue to follow along those guidelines. The second is, while really Alabama's shelter at home order has expired and certain restrictions have been relaxed, where churches, as you mentioned, could even begin meeting as early as this coming Sunday, May 17th. We have decided here at Trinity Baptist just to take a few extra weeks to move with caution. See, there's a lot that we don't know. And again, you may not believe this, but Jamin, Amy, myself, we're not virologists, and I hope I said that well. we're not.
You know why I know we're not? 'Cause I don't know what that is.
We're not experts in pandemics in any way, and so we do want to take our time to just move slowly, to put certain precautions in place. The third reason is we need some more time just to understand what those distancing measures are going to look like for us, and how they're going to be implemented.
Well, and even with our church, we're unique to a lot of churches today. A lot of churches have chairs, and we have pews, and so that looks different of how you move people, because when we come back, one of the things we talked about is we want to have safe an environment as we can. Let's be honest, even at the stores that people are out at now, they're not sanitizing and will not sanitize probably even as good as we will. But at the same time, we want people to enjoy coming to worship and it not just be very sterile. So there's a lot of work, a lot of effort to make those things things happen.
And I think it's important for you out there to know that we're preparing to potentially bring back a few hundred people onto our church campus, and so there's going to be a lot of work that has to go into that. So that's another reason. A fourth reason is that we've had to make a lot of adjustments over the past couple of months to within our space. It may be even a little unrecognizable if you were to come into where we are today here in our auditorium, but adjustments to our space, adjustments to our equipment to be able to live stream every Sunday, every Wednesday. And so just as it's been challenging for us to move exclusively online, there's going to be a challenge for us to go back and to do live in-person services, and to do that as we continue to do the live stream for those who are not able to gather. And then finally, you'll see there, while we certainly want to obey God, we don't want to neglect gathering together for worship, but we also want to let our good works, shine before our neighbors. And, really right now, one of our good works is doing everything that we can to get the gospel out of the building without actually having people in the building. So, that's been unique. But we realize, there is some fearfulness that's out there. There is some anxiety in our community. Now, we don't have to be fearful because we worship a God who is sovereign. He's in control. But still, there are different thoughts and opinions about when things should be opening up. And so, for sure, we want to be careful. We definitely want to be mindful of the reputation of Jesus, and to love our neighbor, and just to move conservatively towards reopening. And I also want to mention this. We don't have this there on the information there, but as we surveyed our church family, 70% of you church family indicated to us that you are ready, you are comfortable being back here at the first opportunity that we have.
And we want to be wise with that. And once again, any church that would go back before us, man, praise God, that's their dynamic, their setting. Churches that are going back after our May 31st date, they feel like that's where they are at. But for us, I don't think a lot of people understand that our media team, the things that happen, actually are volunteers here. And even when we went online, we were not an online church before we started. And actually some of the things that we need to have to make both services work have not come in through the mail yet. So we're still waiting on some of those. So we will get there. We want you to know that there's no one, trust me, there's no one that wants to preach to a crowd more than me. And I'm sure some of the 5 people that are here on Sunday would like to interact with more people than me as well.
The conversation begins to get a little stale, doesn't it?
Yes,
just after a while. So we've so all these things and more really have factored into our May 31st date. Now let's talk for a minute just about how we are reopening. Church, what do you and your family need to prepare for? What should you anticipate? You'll see some things there on your screen. First of all, as we reopen, we will do so gathering for worship only.
Yeah.
Just worship only. What does that mean?
Well, you know, we believe in groups. We have the Gospel Project. If you know, we have been not only teaching through that, still doing online resources and books. We'll have those available as well. But we believe in groups here. If all that you're doing is getting what I preach on Sunday morning, you're missing that. We don't want to forsake the assembly of ourselves together, but we do believe in groups. And so it's very hard when you think about all of our on-campus groups, the rooms that we have, as we've walked through them. Children's, everywhere else, it's impossible to social distance with just even 2 or 3 or 4 people in some of those rooms. Right. And then that's one of the things that we talked about with Amy and our children's ministry. I just want to let you know that this is a scientific fact. Children will not social distance.
Will not.
No, and so to have that downstairs, you're putting a lot of people in different environments, and it's an environment that you cannot control. And so we felt, looking at everything, what we can do, the best way to be the best testimony. Now, that doesn't mean that groups are not coming back, but we're going to walk through that as best we can. So there will be no children's group, there will be no Sunday school or small on-campus groups, and neither will there be a Wednesday night group. But for all of those that don't want to see the Grubs and E show go away,
we're still with you here for a time.
We will still be here.
And I know that's exciting. We're getting a lot of thumbs up in the comments, hearts.
Yes,
that's what I'm imagining in my head. I'm not
looking right now because we might have some of those.
So worship only to start off. That means at this time there will still not be any small group Bible study meetings, no kids or student activities, no auxiliary meetings, teas, showers, even if those things were, no other on-campus church activities at this time. So we are prioritizing our Sunday morning worship gathering. Then the second thing is, again, with potentially a few hundred people coming back, how do we maintain that 6-foot separation that is recommended? Well, to help with this, we are temporarily adding an earlier 8:30 service on Sunday morning. And so we'll ask you to consider joining us for that service for a time, so that it will give us the space that we need to.
And that's some of the metrics, you like that word?
Go ahead, throw that out.
That you filled out online to let us know that, as looking at it, it's pretty much a split down the middle. How many will come to the 8:30? How many would come to the 10:30? There was a lot of effort and thought put into how do you do this? Do you do a certain age? Do you do a certain number? But ultimately, we have the capabilities from what you gave us the feedback to do that.
Thank you.
And do that here on campus between the 2 services.
Yeah, thank you for taking the time to do that. You know, sometimes we have that information and it doesn't always get back as quickly as but you guys really jumped on that, and that really helped to inform, to add input to even to this decision. So the third thing is that, excuse me, while it will look different, we are going to continue our live stream. That'll be there just as it has been on YouTube and on Facebook. We understand that there are a number of people within our church who do fall into that greater risk category, who do fall into that vulnerable category, and or maybe you just feel more comfortable waiting an additional few weeks, and that's what is best for you and your family. So we would encourage you to do that. We encourage you, again, take the necessary precautions for you and for your family. Continue to join us on our live stream. That will continue to be there.
Right, and we are now an online church, to go from not being online to doing that. And that's why The goal's not perfection, but we want to have excellence. Now, ultimately, if down the road you can come to church, we want you to get out of your pajamas and come to church, okay?
And there's probably another discussion on what it looks like for those translating to the live environment. We may need to cross a couple of bridges there.
Absolutely, but we're going to be online from here forward. And one of the great feedbacks, one of the highest feedbacks that we have received that like the online is our senior adult congregation, because a lot of them have not been able to get to church even before, and it keeps them up to date. And so we want to do that. We want to continue this. This is another tool for our church to put in our tool belt to further the gospel, to communicate discipleship, to do what God has called us to do.
So one of the biggest questions that we've had is, what about child care? And the short answer is we are not going to be able to provide child care at this time. And we really don't know, again, we're still learning as we go, but we really don't know when we're going to be able to offer child care. Again, there's still a lot that we're learning, and we want to move cautiously, but I will say our live service is going to be more intentional, interactive for families that have young children. We're going to be offering some helpful resources for, as we talked about this morning, for parenting in the pew. And so, Amy has been sitting here very patiently through this conversation.
It's been like a ping pong match.
Yes, that's right.
And I know,
do you know which way to move your head? And
if Amy was honest right now, she's saying, why did you bring me up here?
Why is it taking so long? But Amy, why don't you kind of fill us in on kind of what our families might anticipate, some of the things that we've been talking about?
First off, I want to say that, again, we would love to be able to have your children downstairs. I have talked with multiple teachers, all of our child care leaders. We have a little group that we chit-chat back and forth on Facebook, and they are ready to come back. But right now, we just feel like it is best for the safety of your children and for those workers to include the children into the service. And we want to be intentional with that, like Eric said. And I think we've been working on a few things, and it gives also an opportunity as a parent to sit as a family and worship. And I think that is a great opportunity that you don't want to pass up. Yeah. And I understand, I know with small children and even with a little bit older children, it can be a little bit of a test to sit there. So we are coming up with something. I came up with a little praise pack that each child will get as they come in, according to their age or what they're able to do. And it'll have activities in it, but the main thing is we don't want this just to be something that occupies their time during the service, but we want it to be something that helps them interact in the service, that is intentional and engaging, along with Jamin's sermon. So it will go along with what you were preaching on Sunday morning. And so that will be something that will help you as a parent, again, parent and teach in the pew with your children. And we don't want you to feel uncomfortable if there is a little bit of noise. We understand that, and I think we're going back a little bit to kind of the old school church. I know many of us sat in the pew with our parents. So, and many of us sometimes had to go out the back door with our parents. So we hope that doesn't happen too often. Yeah. But in case of children that do need to, I think Eric may have went out a lot.
Yes.
With his, but the parents that do need a break or to get up with a child that needs a little more if they're crying or things like that with small children, we will have a couple of rooms set aside that you can visit and go to, that you can also still see the service going. But that will be not a room that is monitored by anyone, so that'll be something as a parent that you will just get up and take your child to. But I'm excited about these packs because I think it goes along with our gospel project. It'll keep the kids engaged in the service.
So just a little bit of feedback there. We may have had an issue with your mic online. Don't know, just a little bit of feedback. But what Amy was saying is we're going to have resources for you and for your children that are available, and we'll be putting that information out just in case for some reason they didn't catch that online. What Amy just said was wonderful. It was awesome. And so if you didn't catch that, we'll get that information to you. But it is going to be a little bit more boisterous in our live service, and we look forward to that. That'll be wonderful. So, kind of to wrap up our discussion, what will it look like? I think it's good to kind of paint the best picture that we can to help people just kind of anticipating what is it going to look like when we come back here, because obviously things are going to change. Well, in addition to what we've already mentioned, when we come back, things like the 6 foot of separation, that recommendation is something that we're going to have to put in place. And again, the addition of the 8:30 a.m. service is one of the ways that we hope to address that, to provide some more space for us to sit here in our auditorium. And we're going to ask our families to sit together in a pew, and we will try to space that out or provide the necessary space there. What will it look like for you to come in and out of the facility? That's another question. And I would say we probably will be able to, there will be some ways that we'll be able to congregate. Yes. Again, respecting that rule, but we will ask you to be mindful of it, of that 6 foot distance. We're not going to check your temperature at the door, are we?
No, we're not.
Are you going to have to change into a hospital gown when you come?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
And there are those things that we can, we're just asking people to use good common sense. And the bottom line is, if you have more questions and you feel like, man, I just don't know, it's okay. We'll have that online resource, because there'll be areas that you, like you said, you can gather. If the weather's nice, you can gather outside, because if you come to the 8:30 service, we're going to ask you to come by 8 o'clock. If you come to the 10:30, we're going to ask you to wait till 10, because in between those services, we're going to sanitize, we're going to disinfect, wipe down as very much things as we can. But at the same time, we have to kind of switch between the services. There are areas that you can go out, and especially if the weather's nice, and you can interact and do those things. And so that's why, as you see, we see access limited to the auditorium and to the foyer, and volunteers are going to open up the doors. Right. The back door of our auditorium will remain open. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing about it. Will that cause commotion? Listen, guys, I've preached overseas in some places where I've had goat, dogs, and sheep in the middle aisle, so I don't think it's going to rattle me too much. We will be good with that. But we just ask you to keep 6 foot apart. No handshakes, no hugs. We're going to come up with our own, maybe our TBC group. Maybe that's one thing you could help us with. We talked the other day about, it's out here kind of,
Yeah,
is that what it is?
We're coming up something. Mira's on the case. I don't know if you're familiar with that. You'll pick that up later.
Yeah, for those that are my age, that brings back like the 80s and 90s.
We will come up.
Word up.
We will come up with something, just a unique greeting, so that's not so awkward.
Maybe
or
they
what
could
you
help
do.
us with that.
Yeah, so if you have any ideas there, feel free to drop us those comments, let us know. But I think here is maybe a good time to say that we realize that there are going to be those who are very strict about carrying out this 6 foot of distance, that recommendation, and then maybe those who feel a little bit more relaxed about doing that. And to those who may feel a little bit more relaxed, I would say, well, this is the time for us to love and to serve our neighbor, to really be intentional as we gather with our brothers and sisters to exercise that appropriate distancing there, because it is important to our brothers and sisters that may be at risk, may be concerned in some way, and so we are going to very much recommend that and say, church, we need your help in doing that. And along with that, I might say, parents, this is something that we'll have to be intentional about to even communicate to our kids, because yes, I know my girls, they love to run and to get a hug, to get a high five, a fist bump from all of our church family here. And but that'll be something that we maybe need to address with them, to work hard to say, hey, for this time, it's going to be important that we give that respect towards one another.
Absolutely. And continuing with the last few of the what will it look like, we're going to have a section reserved for those that might be at risk. Now, we realize that probably most of that population of our church family will stay at home. Right. But if you do, if you do come and are part of us, we have a side entrance to our auditorium. Yeah. We will have that where you could come in, you can sit, you can go out that area, because we know that, just like you said, some may come in wearing mask and glove, and some don't wear anything. And so it's that environment that we want you to feel comfortable. We want to, we want to extend grace during this time.
And again, those things, those are decisions that we leave up to you and your family to take those proper precautions. But again, to serve one another and to be mindful of those things as well. You'll see in the foyer as you come in that we will have a number of resource tables for kids, for students, for adults, where you'll be able to pick up things like your gospel project material, even this resource that Amy talked about for your kids. And so that'll be available for you there in the foyer. And then just so you know, as far as organization and sanitation goes, we will be regularly cleaning and sanitizing around the facility. As a matter of fact, while everyone has been gone from the building these past couple of months, our entire facility has really been deep cleaned. And we're so thankful for Penny Cottingham and all that she does here. And so we hope that this thing sparkles and shines, and so we look forward to you being back here and seeing that. But we'll be cleaning and disinfecting between the services.
Remember to pray for Penny, because she had surgery. She had brain surgery, and we have had a lot of fun comments with that on her. With
Hi,
her,
Penny.
she had a. Yes, I hope she's watching.
Yeah.
And she does a phenomenal job, and so. We have disinfected every room, put signs on the door, and really been in preparation from day one for the day we would come back, together. Yeah. And so we do that with mine. But there's some things that it will look a little bit different. We will not have coffee mints. That I know not having coffee.
That's going to be tough.
It's going to be tough for some. If you want to bring that from home, knock yourself out, but we're just trying to take away those points of contact for now. And we will get back there. No bulletins, connect cards. We'll have iPads in the back in the foyer that if you're a guest or if you need to get information to us, that you'll be able to either fill that out, or we'll have someone there to fill that out for you. And even as we end the service, we will not pass the offering plate. We will have baskets at the door, so you can drop that off. And our staff will be here. Amy will be here at the table, so you can talk, you can interact. You will get to meet Hector and Holly. And even with our Hispanic ministry, we've been in contact with Adrian, who will be heading that up, and Brother D. Wayne with the worship, and just all of those people that will be here in leadership to serve and to love. But it will just look different. But there is help that we need with that.
Yeah, absolutely. As you could tell, between organization and sanitation, this will be a lot of work. And if you would like to help us, then we could use your help. There are a number of things that we're going to need to be doing to have a clean and a safe environment here. And so if you'll just contact the church office this week, we will get you the information that you need, get you signed up. You can do that either by email or by the office phone there on your screen. So, we've talked about why May 31st and then what you might anticipate as we begin gather again. And this is it's definitely a trial.
Yes.
You know, we're not doing this because we want to shake things up or just find a new way to do church. We're doing this because we have to.
Right.
And we want to make it clear, you know, our goal is to come back as one church at one place, you know, at one time gathering to worship the Lord together. We're just not there yet.
Yes.
And we will be working our way there, doing those things that are required. And I would say, just as we even finish up the discussion, I want to share, you know, I'm a pretty optimistic person. But, you know, during this time, there have been times that have been harder, that have been more stressful, times where there has been struggling. And, you know, I'm sure that many others out there have had that same experience. And I just want you to know that we, as your pastors and your church staff, are here to help and to care for you. But sometimes you need to reach out and let us know what you need. And so, and not just the pastors, but even us as a church family, that this is why we're here, to stand alongside one another, to care and to help one another. And so if you do have a need, remember that you're not alone in this, and I hope that you'll reach out to us in that.
Well, and we believe in the power of prayer, even talking through some of those things of what that looks like. And I want to encourage you, we're praying for you. I'm so thankful for our staff that are calling, that are checking in. But I want you to know that your staff is praying for you. And man, what a great privilege and honor and power that we have with that. So we want to encourage you to do that, as, you know, let us know how we can pray for you.
Yeah.
Well, as we move into the next section, kind of before we get into Rewind, I thought I would show something maybe to give us a little break in between. But you know, one of the things that I noticed, I want to show something called my Facebook life versus real life. It's really a neat little video, because I think there's so many, I don't know if you see this, on Facebook, that it's easy to see your life and then you see people post their life. For instance, I know I'm going into way too much detail, but sometimes I see people that post their Bible and a cup of coffee and the perfect, you know, and a fire.
So you saw my picture, though.
Yes. And a fireplace behind it with all of their children sitting with their hands folded. You know,
that wasn't my picture.
Yes, and everything's perfect on theirs. And then I look in my house, and you know, the door's open, a dog ran through the, you know, and it's easy to think that, you know, my Facebook life has got to be this thing versus real life. And I thought this would be a little good example to let you see that sometimes your Facebook life, what you think it ought to be, or maybe what somebody else has, it's really not all it's cracked up to be. Watch this.
Dad, camera, put it down. You cannot take a picture with the top of your head. Dad, that's not helping. Can you slow that down? Can you not wait 5 minutes?
Oh, hey, if you're going in there, you're gonna want that. Love you.
All right, take the picture there. Look as pitiful as you can.
Oh my God, Mom, this is embarrassing.
Take the shot. If
This
you're
is
hurt in the
embarrassing.
picture, just do
It's
it. Don't
hot
worry about
out.
that.
It is hot.
Babe, please.
I want pizza. We're not having pizza. I'll give you ice cream if you try it. It doesn't matter if it's well, you don't even know. It didn't taste bad. Well, it does. You'll see it tastes good.
Mom, they clean the house now.
Thank you, Kayla. Well, we want pizza. Well, we're not having pizza.
We'll get these.
Well,
You know, so a lot of times we look at people and we think they have the perfect life, and they just don't. They're just like us.
That's it.
Just
That's
like
it.
us.
Good stuff. Last week we began this new segment called Gospel Project Rewind, just to take a few minutes to discuss this week's Gospel Project lesson, highlight some things that we've learned or even have been challenged by. And we even invited you, submit your questions, submit some of your insights to us. We'd love to be able to discuss those as a part of the show. But this week we've been studying Mark chapter 1, verses 21 through 42. And we're really looking at how Jesus revealed his authority, his power during his early ministry. And that has shown us how it really revealed that he is who he says he is. He is the Son of God, the one who has the power to proclaim and to provide salvation. And before I get really the two of you to kind of throw in here on this discussion, share some of your insights, I want to remind everyone that's watching that you and your family, we'd love for you to join in with the Gospel Project if you're not already doing that. And all those resources are available on our church website. You can go to tbctrinity.org/The Gospel Project, and you can find the lessons there, audio teaching, videos that our staff do that goes along with that. So I hope that you'll join us in that. So 3 points that we discussed in this week's lesson. Jesus reveals his power, he proclaims his purpose, and then he displays his compassions. Or compassion, compassions. I could say it either way. Insights, thoughts, and maybe Amy, you might even share with us a perspective from the kids' side, from the kids' lesson.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the big things that stood out for me, and of course, rewinding, going back, I think that's one of the great things about kind of walking through the Gospel Project is, and I love about Scripture is His mercies are new every day. We get something out of that. And just even as we talked about, the paralytic with the 4 people that dropped him down, is their faith came, even though Jesus said, I see, because of your faith, I'm going to heal you. Ultimately, it was because the power of Jesus Christ. And we see that ultimately his life, Jesus was living, on purpose to glorify God and to really see the lost come to Christ. And so I think it's really neat to see how when you lift Jesus up, I think about the verse, he must increase, I must decrease. When you see that, how things happen, supernatural things happen, but it's all about Jesus. It really is. And I don't know, maybe you could even share some of the things that you thought or even some things that you shared with our children.
Well, with the children, first you have to explain to them what a miracle is, which is, sometimes can be hard for them to grasp. But, something that is impossible for us to do is something that God can do is a miracle. But, when I read this, I think about how before Jesus came and did all these things, the Pharisees were all about their self. They were all about what made them seem great and all the things that were outward, And so Jesus kind of flipped the switch is what I would tell the kids. He kind of flipped the switch and came as a servant, which they had not seen before. He came, to care for people, but again, remind the kids through all these miracles, and they get excited about hearing things about people being able to walk and see, and those are exciting things in the story, but we want to make sure the kids remember that he also is there to care for our spiritual well-being and to heal us spiritually, and so that's something I would...
That's very powerful when you think that, Jesus, he had the power to heal that physical, meet that physical need, but he was always concerned with the spiritual.
That's right.
And, when you think about just the power of Jesus Christ and his love and his compassion and how all of that works together, I think sometimes people try to explain God and Jesus Christ, but He's so unexplainable. His thoughts are beyond our thoughts. His ways are beyond our ways. And even continuing into this weekend, we're going to continue that thought from this past week with, living on purpose as we continue to look at Jesus Christ and just what you said, how He flipped the switch. We're going to talk a little bit about that this coming Sunday. And normally this coming Sunday would be, there's a couple events coming up that normally would look a lot different. One is this coming Sunday with graduate recognition, and we're going to take a little bit of time to almost do a virtual recognition online. And I want to share, looking forward to, we've got some Bibles for our high school graduates that Hector's going to come by and deliver those when they get in, and just encourage and honor them, because we have so many seniors here at our church that it just looks different, and we want to honor them. But we want to talk about like living on purpose and the purpose of Christ, that He really flipped the switch. What people thought He was coming to do, it was not exactly what He came to do. A lot of people thought He was coming to set up this physical kingdom, but He said, I'm going to set up a kingdom that you just don't even comprehend. And I'm so thankful for the power of the gospel as we see this and as we walk. And so I want to continue to encourage you to walk with us in the gospel project. And if you don't go to our church, and you have children, all of those resources are there. And I think so many times you hear us say it, I'm not just the pastor. I do that. I'm walking through the 5 days of devotions with that. And it's something that speaks to me and I see, but don't do life alone. And even though we're socially distant, you can still track with us online. And I know this Sunday will look a little bit different, but then even in a couple of, in a couple of weeks, something that's very near and dear and big at Trinity Baptist Church, VBS, it's going to look a little bit different. And so maybe you want to share a little bit about that, Amy.
I'm super excited that we have something that we can give our kids June 1st through the 5th, and we're going to do that virtually. So the kids will actually experience VBS online. This is also something new that we've never done, but the kids adapt very well to things, and this will be an exciting thing where we'll have many activities for them to do at home. But also, they'll get to see some of their friends hosting the show, doing some crafts and activities. Probably Pastor Jamin and Eric doing a little bit of some recreation games that they can do at home. So we're cannot wait to see some of that. Mm-hmm. So hopefully you'll get your kids excited about that. In the next week or so, we will get a list out of things that you can easily get at the grocery store or at Walmart, that your kids can, right along with the video, make this super great snack and crafts. So it will be an exciting time, something new. Not to say that hopefully later on, when all of this, we're back to a little bit of normalcy, that we will get to have some type of great kid event.
Right.
And but right now we're going to do the best we can online.
And I think that'll be wonderful. Excuse me. I'm grateful that we have the opportunity to continue to minister to even our kids and our community, even if that does look different. And church, really, it is your continued faithfulness that enables us to do that. Your faithfulness and giving that enables us to continue to do ministry, and even if it does look different. And so we appreciate that so much. We're so grateful for that, and you'll even see that information there on your screen. So as we close out tonight, it's been a long episode, but hopefully informative episode. And we do look forward to getting back with you again even this Sunday. But Amy, will you close us out in prayer tonight? Okay.
Father God, we just come to you today, and we thank you, God, that we're able to connect and be with our church family and share your word, even if it is through a distance, God. But thank you for that capability. Dear God, as we make preparations to return to your house to worship you, just to help lead and guide all of the leaders and our deacons in the church, God, that we make the right decision. Help each family, God, as they pray through and think about how things will look in the next few days. Just help them, God, and guide them. Thank you for your mercies and grace each day. And we give you praise and honor in Jesus' name. Amen.
As we close out, I leave you with the words that Mark said there as we looked at this week. It said, when they encountered Jesus and saw what he did, they all glorified God and were amazed. Yeah. Be amazed by Jesus Christ because he's so amazing. Have a great week.
Didn't want heaven Jesus, you brought heaven down. My sin was great, your love was greater. What could say?